Good evening, everybody. I'd like to call the November 16th, 2021 Town Council meeting to order. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And if you can remain standing for a moment of silence for our men and women serving here and abroad. Please be seated. Thank you. Clerk Semino, a roll call vote, please.
Councillor Hume.
Here.
Councillor Ringus is presently not here. Councillor Ryan.
Here.
Councillor Flaherty. Here. Councillor Sasha.
Here.
Councillor Connors.
Here.
Councillor O'Brien.
Present.
Councillor Barrica.
Here.
Councillor Mackin.
Here.
Thank you.
We do have a counselor who is participating remotely tonight, so all votes will be via a roll call vote. Moving on to announcements, I just want to thank Mayor Sullivan, Mayor Kokoros, sorry. I'm sorry. Mayor Kokoros. I said that for 12 years. Mayor Kokoros for the incredible Veterans Day event that was held here last Thursday. By far was one of the best, in my opinion, Veterans Day events that has ever been here. It was so nice to see so many people, all the veterans organizations, and this year, Mayor Kokoros and the Veterans Agent handed out 3 awards. They did a Veteran of the Year, a Veterans Organization of the Year, and the L&M Drogo Award. The guest speaker was our very own John Pellos, which was so nice to see one of our own here speaking about his experience and educating all of us. If you haven't seen it, BCAM is televising it and replaying it. But congratulations to the Veteran of the Year, Bert Tremblay, the Veterans Organization of the Year, the American Legion Post, and the L&M Drogo Award goes to Mary Ficicella, which if you don't know who Mary is a huge advocate for the veterans, works is one of the key players in the Veterans Agents and in our Elder Services and Veterans group over there. So congratulations to all of them. Well deserved. Mary's daughter delivered a incredible speech before presenting her mother with the award. So again, I strongly encourage you, check out this, the event that is on BCAM, their YouTube channel and all that, and thank you again to Mayor Kokoros for an incredible day and honoring all the veterans. Any other announcements? Seeing none, moving on to approval of minutes of October 19th, 2021. Is there a motion?
Motion to approve the minutes of October 19th, 2021.
There's been a motion made by Councillor Ryan, seconded by Councillor Barrica. Clerk Semino, roll call vote, please.
Councillor Barrica.
Yes.
Councillor Connors.
Aye.
Councillor Flaherty.
Yes.
Councillor Hume.
Aye.
Councillor Mackin.
Aye.
Councillor O'Brien.
Aye.
Councillor Ringus is currently not present. Councillor Ryan.
Aye.
Councillor Sasha.
Yes.
8 in favor, 0 opposed.
That is unanimous. Thank you. Moving on to communications, we do have with us tonight Mayor Kokoros for a couple of updates. Mayor Kokoros, why don't you come on up for 03821, Council President. You are here for a business development update and the Braintree High School maintenance update.
Thank you very much, Madam President, and I do take that as a compliment. I think Mayor Sullivan did a great job for 12 years, so thank you. I just wanted to give a bit of an update on some of the things that have passed through the planning board and some of the new development that has taken place more recently. At one point on Campanelli Drive, we had previously had an Amazon that was going to take 200,000 square feet of this building, and they decided to pull out, and we ended up with the entire 400,000 being taken over by Fire King Bakery, who took 200,000 square feet, and then more recently, TJX Corp. Took the other 200,000. So, it's good to see large buildings that were vacant for a little bit of time to be filled and utilized and brought back to life. So that's one of the things that happened over in that area. 1515 Washington Street, Fox Rock put an addition on of approximately 63,000 square feet, and the lottery has a warehouse location over there. In addition, there's an announcement that we have at 120 Granite Street. It's a company called Native Son of Braintree. This particular company is a medicinal marijuana treatment center, which is allowed through state legislation. It's not recreational, and it has to go through a public hearing process where they will meet with the public and talk about their business and the medicinal use at that location, which is essentially where Pier 1 Imports was. In addition to that, we have a number of things that have happened at South Shore Plaza, good things, and we're trying to transition the plaza from large retail types of businesses into a number of diversified type of businesses that we have seen come to the mall. There's a trampoline amusement type business that has been approved. We also have a gym, Orange Theory, that has been approved. We have a couple other small businesses. There's Eyebrow Glam. I'm sure Councilor Ryan will be happy to hear about that. No, just kidding. We have, that was good. We have the Lord & Taylor site, which we've been talking about for a while. So Lord & Taylor is approximately 125,000 square feet of space that, it's tired, and its reuse, which has been approved, is office, medical office, R&D, those types of uses. And to facilitate the changes that will happen at the South Shore Plaza, which, in this regional mall, we recently basically altered the parking requirements from 4.5 to 4, which will allow additional spaces for change to take place. And our goal is to have a new vision for the mall and work in that direction. So this office type use will change the facade of the building in that area. And when you look at the food court, you see the beautiful glass and everything. It's much nicer than a stucco building with no light coming in and no windows. So that's the goal there, and we're working closely with them, trying to help facilitate that, and have had a number of letters of support for the professional office, R&D, life science, or medical office use in the Lord & Taylor site. So we also have had some small businesses that have had to go through the special permit process, and I just want to highlight this. There's a Extreme Nutrition, which is, it's a rather small 750 square foot location over by Stop and Shop, and it's a nice new addition to have someone be able to open up another small business here in Braintree. 400 Wood Road, we've talked about this literally since I became mayor, and that is a site that has been through transition from the Hamanetics operation, and they have worked to bring the site into really almost a move-in type situation for life science. We are still working with them to bring life science, and I'm very confident that with our team and with the council that will happen. So we will keep you up to date on that. In addition, we did have some new construction and new buildings new building over at Commerce Drive, the Mar Corporation, which came to Braintree a few years ago, so they've expanded a little bit over there as well. And I'm happy to state that 44 Allen Street, we were able to permit through the special permit process through the planning board. It's 56 units. And what's interesting is, you know, we've been working towards trying to create more affordable housing, and this particular development, it's a beautiful development. If anyone wants to see plans on it, that we have a model too, which they were going to let us borrow, but it's quite a beautiful building that will have a public access, as you are aware of, to you know, that will be maintained, and the public will have the ability to be on the waterfront. So that's, you know, a piece of property that really has been kind of blighted for a number of years, and we're finally moving through the permitting process, and I think it still has to go to conservation, and then once it moves through there, we'll be looking for them to bring it online within the next year and a half or so. And that's going to just change Allen Street completely in a positive way, and I'm looking forward to that. While also creating 56 units that would be counted towards our inventory. The other area that we really haven't talked much about is 60 Columbian. 60 Columbian had a special permit for medical use, and they, you know, during COVID, I think they kind of moved away from it, and then we had some discussions. Mass General Brigham's purchased that building, and the goal is for them to build a state-of-the-art building and move a number of different medical uses in there that are currently in the surrounding area. And this will really be a huge benefit for all of our residents and everybody within the South Shore area. So not only do they bring great value to the community, but they also attract a number of other great types of uses. So we're looking forward to coming back to you with some more information on that as it progresses down the line. But they have made that purchase, and we're very happy about that. Motel 6, just a quick update on Motel 6. We continue to work directly with Motel 6 and the ownership, and you know, you just passed a blight ordinance, and you know, they understand the ramifications and the fines that could be imposed upon them. And you know, I just spoke with them yesterday, and they are working towards putting a deal together. And when that does happen, I will, you know, you'll be the first ones to know. And we've been really working as hard as we can to try to get that remedy and have it redeveloped, because it's just an eyesore, and it's not what we want Braintree to look like when you come into Braintree. So I just wanted to give you a little update on that. If I could, I just wanted to give a little update on a couple of other things, and one is the proposal for a joint facilities division for the town. And you know, I've given this update to the school committee. I haven't given it to the council, but you know, just to run through a few things, we were able to replace over 250 fixtures for supply lines and valves, done valve abatement. We've been able to create control valves for building B, C, D, and half of A, and it's fairly significant because there wasn't an ability when we had the major issue that happened in August to shut down sections of the building. So it became a big problem when we finally addressed some of these shutoffs. So, you know, it's given us a lot more control over things as things occur. We're able to shut down areas now where we weren't before. In addition to that, just going through, you know, we were 2 days into the school year, late, but we were 2 days in, and that Friday, there was a chemistry lab where a gooseneck just broke off, kid bumped into it, and there was no way to shut it off. So we're in the process of remedy all of the labs to make sure that these sinks that aren't really used have shut-offs, panels to get to them, so we don't have further catastrophic events. And, you know, our water and sewer department was great. They went in, cameraed the line. There was an issue in the girls' locker room. They cameraed it. They fixed what the blockage was, and they also remedied another situation that was in the kitchen area. So there's a lot of work that's been done, and, you know, the purpose of, and, you know, I know that we're not going to get into it tonight, but just so you know, the purpose of combining these two facilities divisions is because we have the ability to do a lot of work in-house and not outsource things and save money and just get more work done. The real goal is to inventory all of our buildings. I mean, this is, you know, this is a perfect example. Just looking in this room, this room was painted by our facilities, hallways. If you just look through this whole building, it's facilities that did it. You look at Doherty Gym, they did Doherty Gym, American Legion, a whole bunch of things that they've done as projects that you can see the difference that has been made. March Christmas Center. So that's the goal. You know, I say it all the time, you know, and it's funny that you mentioned Mayor Sullivan because I'm in charge and it's my responsibility. And I don't really care if, you know, when we were selectmen, Councilor Ryan, or even before that, what happened or didn't happen within the schools or within any buildings. From this, you know, it's my responsibility and our responsibility to make corrections that we can, and there's really no one to blame. You know, this is just about how we move forward. So this is an opportunity for us to do that, and that's why I just wanted to talk about it a little bit tonight. So that's it for maintenance, but I just had two other quick things. I know there's a lot of people here waiting, and it's great to have such a crowd, a great crowd. If I don't hurry up, they're gonna probably make me put like $50 up on a pickleball game against them, and I certainly will not be walking away with another 50, that's for sure. But so I just wanted to talk about, you know, the pickleball. It is, you know, I want to first of all thank Jan Barris and the whole gang. I mean, it is just an exciting sport, and, you know, it's the most positive group of people I've ever met. They have fun, and, you know, if you want to smile, then just go out and hang out with them because they're great. And, you know, it was really a no-brainer because we're looking at the work we've done at Doherty Gym. Now we're going to do some drainage with this, as well as create, I believe it's 6 to 8 fully reconstructed pickleball courts. And what it does is it's a continuation of really bringing back to life that whole Hollis complex. And, you know, in phase one, we started doing the work in the Doherty Gym, which is, you know, just unbelievably wonderful. Having played there when I was at Central Junior High and looking at it today, it's so impressive. But phase two is this drainage and building these courts. And, you know, as we work into phase three, we're looking at the multi-use baseball field, bathrooms, et cetera, that we're looking to, at this point, the consultant will be working on to create that. So the goal overall is to go through these phases and really create this wonderful recreation area up there that will have so many different groups using and bringing back to life. So this piece here is so important because it's used on a regular basis, and, you know, it's part of what makes you know, us a better community. So I will ask for your support on that. And I just want to lastly, I'm sorry I took so much of your time, but I just wanted to mention our Planning and Conservation Department, and specifically Kelly Phelan. We have so many opportunities now because of the hard work that she's done with the grant program. You know, it's interesting, I sign a lot of things, but I'm constantly signing grant money, approval of grant money that Kelly Phelan has been able to secure for us to have trails along the Manhattan River and access to the Manhattan River, which was the lifeline of all industry in Braintree and farm life, et cetera. And now the public is going to have the ability to be able to utilize so much of that. So I just wanted to mention how great a job that she has done in securing this funding and the benefits that Braintree residents and all visitors will have from it. And with that, I just want to say thank you, Madam President, thank you, councilors, and I hope everyone has a great Thanksgiving, because I don't think I'll see you here at the meeting before then, but the Wants will win. I've already predicted that, so thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Mayor Kokoros, for those updates. It's nice to hear there's new businesses coming into town, new revenue streams, replacing lost revenue streams, so great work to you and your staff. We look forward to all those businesses coming in. Any comments from anybody? Okay. Next on the agenda is item 03221, the Council President, the 2022 Town Council meeting calendar. Councilor Ringus is planning to be here tonight, so I'm going to ask everyone if we hold off on that so everybody can be here to vote on that. Any objections to that? Okay. Moving on to old business, item 21027, the mayor ordinance to establish a centralized maintenance department or take up any action relative thereto. We are not going to be taking this up. It is still in Committee of Ways and Means. We hope to be voting on this by year end, but Councilor Baraka and the Ways and Means Committee are still asking questions and looking for more information. There's been a lot of work in that. So stay tuned for that to a future meeting. Item 21055, the mayor, CPA appropriation. Request for appropriation, Dari Gym, exterior courts and drainage, or take up any action related thereto. This is a public hearing. Is there a motion to open the public hearing on order 21055?
So moved.
There's been a motion made by Councilor Ryan, seconded by Councilor Baraka. Clerk Semino, roll call vote to open the public hearing.
Council Baraka?
Yes.
Council Connors?
Aye.
Council Flaherty?
Yes.
Councilor Hume?
Aye.
Councilor Mackin? Aye. Councilor O'Brien?
Aye.
Councilor Ringus is not present. Councilor Ryan?
Aye.
Councilor Sasha? Yes. 8 in favor, 0 opposed.
That is unanimous. Thank you. And I will refer to Councilor Baraka, the chairwoman of Ways and Means, for your recommendation to the full council.
Thank you very much, President Hume, and thank you, Mayor Kokoros, for your introduction. I do want to just remind residents that funding for this request is coming from a very specific fund. So it's our Community Preservation Act Fund. It's not coming out of our general fund. This is a fund that all property owners pay into at a 1% rate, and we get matching funds from the state as a result. And it can only be used for open space and recreation, historic preservation, and affordable housing. So this, upon the review of the Ways and Means Committee and the Community Preservation Committee, falls squarely into, I would say, both the letter and the spirit of the Community Preservation Act Fund. So just to echo what Mayor Kokoros said, I want to recognize the leadership of Jan Barris and Janice Walsh, and all of the pickleball players who really have done a phenomenal job on this proposal. I don't think, I would be hard-pressed to say that we have ever gotten so many letters of support in our town council packets before. And so on behalf of the residents, thank you for all the work all of you have done in making the pickleball club so inclusive and welcoming and really reflecting the best that Braintree can be. So with all that, you know, very enthusiastic and unanimous favorable recommendation for this appropriation is coming from Ways and Means to the full council this evening.
Thank you, Councilor Barca. Anybody from the mayor's office wish to speak on that? Or care to add what Mayor Kokoros has already said?
Thank you very much, President Hume, members of the council. Good evening, everyone. I would recognize we have with us this evening Melissa Santucci-Razzi, Director of Planning and Community Development, and also Jim Arsenault, Director of the Department of Public Works. Just for sake of clarity, the total funding request with this is $443,000 coming from the unreserved fund, with roughly $98,000 of that allocated specifically to the drainage improvements in the area, along with the enhancements to the existing courts. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone from the council wish to speak on this? Councilor Ryan.
Thank you, Madam Chairwoman. I just want to say this is a wonderful project. If you look at over at Hollis, if you look at the park that we put in, it seems like the other day, but it's got to be over 10 years now that we did the park over. And I remember we were planning that. And you know, the Doherty Gym, it's just a beautiful facility. My son played basketball there, and it's just, it's an asset for the town. And the recreational facilities in the town of Braintree are second to none, and I'm glad we're using these CPA funds, CPC funds, Community Preservation Committee funds to work on projects like this. I don't know, a few years ago, I was at work and my friend came back from Florida and he started telling me about pickleball. And you would have thought he had discovered his favorite thing in the world. And I'm like, what the heck is pickleball? And I've seen folks play, I've seen it in my travels. I've never played it. But just to think we're going to be adding these pickleball courts in town, I'm really excited, and it's 100% the right thing we should be doing. And to see all you folks turning out to support this, it's wonderful, and that's what makes this town of Braintree great. We have a bunch of volunteers in the town get behind ideas and commit to making things happen, and that's what makes Braintree special. So I fully support this, and I can't wait to get out there and play pickleball, so thank you so much.
Councilor Shasha.
Madam President, I would echo Councilor Ryan's sentiment, and I just wanted to say this is in District 2, so it's completely supported by the residents there. You know, anybody that had kids that went to Hollis knows the condition of those courts now, and it's really appreciated that the residents who worked on this have been working on this for a long time. I mean, the process of government can be slow, but the amount of work that they put in from getting estimates, they were contacting the council before this ever got started, and the fact that they were able to get this done, pull in the DPW, who actually is improving the project by making drainage improvements while they redo the courts, getting the CPC funding approved. This has been a fantastic job done by the residents, by a lot of residents who clearly want this done, and I hope everybody will support it. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilor Flaherty.
So one of the best things that I did this summer was to pick up a pickleball racket. So if you haven't picked up a pickleball racket, I suggest you go and get one, because the Braintree pickleball players are fabulous. They are It's true. It's true. They are welcoming. No matter what your skill level is, you are welcome to come and play. They will teach you the game. They will teach you the rules. They will teach you some strategy. They will do some practice with you. They're patient. They're helpful. This is an organization that is really a great one for Braintree to support. I mean, I didn't grow up playing pickleball. I'd never heard of it before. But I'll tell you that it is exploding nationwide in popularity among adults. But my kids play it in elementary school gym. So I think that this is a sport that's here to stay. I think we're smart to get ahead and put in some really good courts. I think they will get a tremendous amount of use. And I'd also like to point out that, you know, we don't have pickleball teams among our youth, but, you know, someday we might. And besides that, recreation and exercise are needed at every age. And we do a lot for our kids, and we should. but this is something that's important for everyone to be able to be a part of. And pickleball, in particular, is a relatively inexpensive sport. You can get a racket for 20 bucks, and then other than that, you just need some sneakers. So, you know, in Braintree, we have golf, which lots of people play, and there are plenty of private exercise gyms that you can belong to, but pickleball is probably the most inexpensive opportunity that we have for sport for adults in Braintree, and I think it's worth supporting just for that reason, because we should have recreational offerings that are accessible to residents at every income level. And so I will be proud to support this. I will be definitely on the courts when I get a chance, and I hope everyone else will too.
Thank you. Councilor Ringus.
Thank you, everyone, for being here tonight. I was in another meeting, and I told them, listen, I have to cut out early because I have to go approve some pickleball courts. So I am here. I wanted to make sure I was here on time. I came up a couple months ago to check it out. To see the conditions prior to this hitting the agenda. I was going to jump in, but you were all very intense, and I didn't want to lose. So it's just, as Council Flaherty said, this is a sport that is growing in popularity. It's just yet another recreation avenue for folks in this town. We've seen the use of some of the CPA money throughout town over the last year, so thank you to the mayor's office and folks for thinking outside the box and finding new ways to engage folks in this sort of healthy behaviors. So I look forward in a few moments to approving this. So thank you all for coming out tonight.
Anybody else? I want to add to this. So several years back, maybe 5 years ago, the Braintree Friends of Pickleball was a very small organization and invited myself, Nelson Chin, and Mayor Sullivan out to play pickleball and learn pickleball and check out the courts that were behind Doherty Gym. So we went and we played, and I will tell you I was hooked because it is a great sport. We've played inside the Doherty Gym. I just want to add to what has already been said tonight, echo all the sentiments that have been said. It is one of the fastest growing sports throughout the country. I think Braintree was maybe one of the latter ones to get into it, but I'm so glad to see this is growing and we're investing money in our courts, and the Friends of Braintree Pickleball has grown. And there has been so many letters, as Councilor Shasha said, from Braintree Friends of Pickleball to the council advocating for this. I know Nelson Chin was an advocate for all of you and met with many of you throughout the years. And I think this project was started because of him. And I thank you all too for having a tournament earlier this year in honor of him. He was a very good friend of mine, so I thank you for that. And Chris Griffin was also instrumental too. I know many of you reached out to Chris, and I had spoken to Chris this year several times to see what would be done. And I do thank the Conservation Preservation Funds for having the ability to fund this project, and for all those involved for having the thought to approach them to fund this project. Because as many as you know, the budget is a little bit tight, but this is such a worthwhile project. It's a great exercise. People of all ages can join, and more people are talking about pickleball. We have the PGA Superstore in Braintree who has, if anybody needs a racket, you can get it right down there. They have all the equipment you need for pickleball, but I commend all of you for being here tonight. We don't get many people in attendance to advocate. Usually it's some for or against stuff. But you're all here in support of it, and I appreciate that. I thank you for taking time out of your schedule. It is, I know all of you are very busy, but I look forward to seeing you all in the future and seeing the pickleball community in Braintree grow, and keep us posted. But I will be in support of this. So with that, I will open it up if anybody from the public wants to come up and speak on this matter. All right. Seeing none, is there a motion to close the public hearing?
So moved, Madam President.
Second.
There's been a motion made by Councilor Ringus, seconded by Councilor Ryan. Clerk Semino, a roll call vote to close the public hearing, please.
Councilor Connors? Aye. Councilor Flaherty?
Yes.
Councilor Hume?
Aye.
Councilor Mackin? Aye. Councilor O'Brien?
Aye.
Councilor Ringus?
Aye.
Councilor Ryan?
Aye.
Councilor Sasha? 9 in favor, 0 opposed.
That is unanimous, thank you. And now for a motion, Councilor Ringus, on Order 21055.
Thank you, Madam President. I would move that in accordance with the provisions of Chapter 44B of the general laws and with the recommendation of the Community Preservation Committee, the appropriation of $443,000 from the CPA Unreserved Fund for exterior basketball and pickleball court rehabilitation and associated drainage and fencing at and adjacent to the Doherty Gym located at 538/546 Washington Street, Assessors Map 2022, plots 01 and 2A. Said funds shall be expended under the direction of the Community Preservation Committee, the Director of Planning and Community Development, and the Department of Public Works.
Second.
It's been a motion made by Councilor Ringus, seconded by Councilor Ryan. Clerk Somino, a roll call vote, please.
Counselor Baraka.
Yes.
Counselor Connors.
Aye.
Counselor Flaherty.
Yes.
Counselor Hume.
Aye.
Counselor Mackin. Counselor O'Brien.
Aye.
Counselor Ringus.
Aye.
Counselor Ryan.
Aye.
Counselor Sasha. 9 in favor, 0 opposed.
That is unanimous. Congratulations. All right, we are going to jump back to item 03221, Council President 2022 Town Council meeting calendar. You all have had this. Is everybody ready to vote on this evening? Councilor Ringus, a motion, please.
Thank you, Madam President. I would move to accept the 2022 Town Council meeting calendar as presented to the councilors.
There's been a motion made by Councilor Ringus, seconded by Councilor Ryan. Clerk Somino, a roll call vote, please.
Counselor Baraka.
Yes.
Counselor Connors.
Aye.
Counselor Flaherty.
Yes.
Counselor Hume.
Aye.
Counselor Mackin. Counselor O'Brien.
Aye.
Counselor Ringus.
Aye.
Counselor Ryan.
Aye.
Counselor Sasha. 9 in favor, 0 opposed.
That is unanimous. Okay, getting back to the schedule. Item 21056, the mayor. Resolution to file and accept grants with and from the Commonwealth of Massachusetts Executive Office of Energy Environmental Affairs for the Land and Water Conservation Fund Grant Program for improvements to the Middle Street Woods or take up any action related to thereto. This is a public hearing. Is there a motion to open the public hearing on Order 21056?
So moved, Madam President.
Second.
There's been a motion made by Councilor Ringus, seconded by Councilor Ryan to open the public hearing. Clerk Somino, roll call vote, please.
Counselor Baraka.
Yes.
Counselor Connors.
Aye.
Counselor Flaherty.
Yes.
Counselor Hume.
Aye.
Counselor Mackin. Counselor O'Brien.
Aye.
Counselor Ringus.
Aye.
Counselor Ryan.
Aye.
Counselor Sasha. 9 in favor, 0 opposed.
Now they're all set? Okay, that is unanimous. I will refer to Councilor Baraka, the chairwoman of the Committee on Ways and Means, for your recommendation to the full council.
Thank you, President Hume. Just as a reminder, a year ago, actually, November of 2020, the council voted to appropriate $300,000 from our CPA funds for work on a 1/3 of a mile trail through the Middle Street Woods along the Manattaquit River. And at that time, the balance of the funding we expected would be from 2 grants, the Mass Recreational Trails Grant and the Land and Water Conservation Fund Grant. In order for us to receive the monies for those 2 grants, the council has to approve it. So it's a little bit pro forma. The Ways and Means Committee reviewed this last week, and we are sending this to the full council with a unanimous favorable recommendation.
Thank you, Councilor Baraka. Anybody from the mayor's office wish to speak on this?
Thank you again, Madam President. By way of summary, the total project cost for this is estimated at about $587,000, $300,000 of which, as was mentioned, is coming from a prior appropriation of Community Preservation Act open space and unreserved funding, $42,000 from a grant received from the Mass Recreational Trails Program and the remaining balance of $245,000 from a grant that has been conditionally approved and is just pending passage of the resolution allowing the town to accept and administer the funding through the grant program. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone from the council wish to speak on this? And nobody from the public is left. So, is there a motion to close the public hearing?
So moved, Madam President.
There's been a motion made by Councilor Ringus,
Second?
seconded by Councilor Ryan. Clerk Semino, roll call vote, please, to close the public hearing.
Counselor Berica?
Yes.
Counselor Connors? Aye. Counselor Flaherty? Counselor Flaherty?
Yes.
Counselor Hume?
Aye.
Counselor Mackin? Counselor O'Brien?
Aye.
Counselor Ringus?
Aye.
Counselor Ryan?
Aye.
Counselor Sasha?
That is unanimous. Now, is there a motion, Councilor Ringus, on Order 21056?
Thank you, Madam President. I would move to approve Order 21056 as submitted, a resolution to file and accept grants with and from the Commonwealth of Massachusetts Executive Office of Energy and Environmental Affairs for the Land and Water Conservation Fund Grant Program for improvements to the Middle Street Woods. Whereas the Middle Street Woods is a community-wide asset and the development of public access to the property is a priority as evidenced in the most recent open space and recreation plan, and whereas the Middle Street Woods is dedicated to conservation purposes under MGL Chapter 40, Section 8C, and whereas the construction of a boardwalk trail will greatly enhance this site by providing universal access and a unique and scenic recreational opportunity, including access to the Mattaquit River, and whereas the Executive Office of Energy and Environmental Affairs is offering reimbursable grants to cities and towns to support the preservation and restoration of urban parks through the Land and Water Conservation Fund Act, and whereas the Middle Street Mattaquit River Trail will cost a total of $587,000, and the town has appropriated this amount as follows: $300,000 in Community Preservation Act funds, $42,000 grant from the Mass Recreational Trails Grant Program, and $245,000 in general funds with the intention to be reimbursed up to $245,000 of the projected costs by LWCF. Now therefore be it, one, that the mayor be and is hereby authorized to file and accept grants from the Executive Office of Energy and Environmental Affairs, and two, that the mayor be and is hereby authorized to take such other actions as are necessary to carry out the terms, purposes, and conditions of this grant to be administered by the Planning and Community Development Department, and three, that this resolution shall take effect upon passage.
Second for discussion.
There's been a motion made by Councilor Ringus, seconded by Councilor Ryan. Councilor Ryan, go ahead.
Thank you. This is just another great project. Some meetings are better than others, and this is a good meeting tonight where we have some really great projects. And, having a boardwalk trail is just going to be a wonderful thing to let people be able to go down near the Mattaquit River and get down there and see the river. It's just going to be wonderful, and and to have to be using CPA funds for this, it's just the right use of these funds. Getting a grant, and we are using general funds, but hopefully we're going to get reimbursed for the general funds that we do use. So it's just a win-win-win right down the line. And even though we now have an empty auditorium tonight, and no one's here in support of this, I think everybody's going to love this. Well, thank you, Melissa, you're here and supporting it. But it's going to be another project that people, I guess they don't know it. They're not going to know it till they see it. And when we open up this trail and this boardwalk, people are going to love it. So this is great. Thank you, folks.
Okay, Clerk Semino, roll call vote, please.
Counselor Berica?
Yes.
Counselor Connors?
Aye.
Counselor Flaherty?
Yes.
Counselor Hume?
Aye.
Counselor Mackin? Counselor O'Brien?
Aye.
Counselor Ringus?
Aye.
Counselor Ryan?
Aye.
Counselor Sasha? 9 in favor, 0 opposed.
It's unanimous. Thank you. Okay, moving on to reports of committee. I will refer to Councilor Berica, the chairwoman of the Committee on Ways and Means, for an update on two items: 03321, the fiscal quarter 1 2022 budget versus actual, and 02421. Well, that's go ahead, Councilor Berica.
No, thank you very much, President Hume. And, for residents here and watching at home, I guess there's no more residents here, but for residents watching at home, the Ways and Means Committee has oversight over the town's budget. And while the annual budget review takes place in May, the committee's budget work really is a year-round effort and endeavor. And I'd like to thank my colleagues on the committee, Councilors Flaherty, Ryan, Shasha, and Connors. We spent about 2 hours, probably more than that, last week reviewing these two items. And I'm going to do my best to summarize it succinctly for everyone. And then if any of my colleagues want to add, that would be welcome by me. So again, we know the last 2 years, the budget's been lean. We've had to make cuts to town personnel and services. So really, as a committee, and I think, we would say together as a community, as we plan ahead, knowing where we stand with both our income and our expenditures is going to be vital and is vital. And that's where these two requests that we spent time working through last week will give us some help and provides us with a picture, an earlier picture before the budget comes along of the financial health. So the first update is really how we're doing for the first quarter of the fiscal year. So that's August, September, and October. And it's important to remember this is just a snapshot in time, and the committee will be reviewing this quarterly this year. So some good news, both the meals and hotel taxes generated more money than we expected during those first 3 months. And I believe the council has the figures in front of them, but again, for those watching at home, meals taxes provided the town with almost $325,000 in revenue, which is about the same amount we would expect to get after 4 months. We got after 3. Hotel taxes also beat expectations. We generated about $310,000 in the first 3 months, and that's about what we expected after the first 6 months. So really outpacing our expectations. And the same is true for the license and permit fees, which is over $500,000. That came in at $615,000 approximately. So together, those 3 hotels, meals, and permit fees, that's a little more than 2% of the town's budget. So I know that doesn't seem like a lot, but it's also not something that we have a lot of control over. So it's really great to see these projections coming in ahead of schedule. We also learned on the downside, we are expecting at this point in time a slight decrease to our total state aid from last year. State aid makes up almost 15% of the town's funding sources, so I know we'll all be keeping an eye on that. And it's also important just to ground everyone, our property taxes are the biggest component of our town's revenue. That's over 70% of the town's revenue, and that we'll be getting into in the next several weeks as we look to set the tax rate for the upcoming year. And that's a good segue. That brings us to our second update. So the Ways and Means Committee worked with our town auditor to develop a long-term budget forecast model. And just again, as a reminder to the residents, the town auditor reports to the town council, not to the mayor's office. So we've been working closely with the town auditor. He's created a very dynamic, complex financial model to really provide us with a lot of what-if scenarios for the next 10 years. And the memo that the town auditor provided to the committee is available online to the public. It's all in the public record, so you can read all the details for yourself. But to summarize that, in the near term, the auditor's report finds that at our current pace, and this is what we discussed several months ago during the budget hearings, the town's expenses are exceeding the town's revenue. So that means we need additional sources of money to preserve the services we count on and deserve. So we spent a lot of time as a committee reviewing the model and discussing how we think about filling the gap. So that, because otherwise we can't spend money we don't have. And in Massachusetts, cities and towns have 4 primary ways to increase funding for services. So that's increasing taxes, increasing fees, increasing redevelopment and new growth, and the mayor gave us some really good news about that this evening with all of the new business development going on in town. And also finding one-time sources of money through grants, which we also know our town departments have done a phenomenal job, and we voted on some of that this evening as well. So all of this, and thank you for bearing with me for this committee report, It's really meant to help set us up for success as we move into 2022 and start thinking about planning and budgeting as we go forward. And I just want to remind people, all of the documents, all of the committee meetings, they're all available to the public. I encourage people to tune in. It's all open and accessible. So thank you very much, President Hume, and I don't know if anyone else wants to add anything from the committee.
Any other comments from Councillor Mackin? Sorry.
I just want to
Councillor
make a
Connors.
quick comment that I agree with Councillor Barrett. Oh, my God. That the public really should go take a look at this spreadsheet. It's a very in-depth spreadsheet, and it clearly shows, even if you don't understand the full budgets, you can go in there and clearly see that we need to start getting some growth or development or ways to increase our income in this town, or in the next 3 to 4 years, this town is going to be in serious trouble with its budget. So again, if we had as many people here as we did for the financial, as the pickleball people, you know, it might make a difference, but I really do suggest he did a phenomenal job on it, and take a look at it and see what this town is going to look like in 5 years if we don't correct issues. That's all I have.
Councillor Mackin.
Thank you, Madam President. Thank you, Councilor Baraka, for that overview. And yes, this is this is an excellent projection. And I've said this the last 2 times we went over the budget. And Councilor Baraka is absolutely correct. You know, we do need to find ways to grow and generate revenue, but that's not the only takeaway I have here. I've said it the last 2 budget meetings. I think we are overinflated in our budget, and we also should look at ways to be more efficient. So yes, we do need more revenue, but and Auditor McGoldrick has it in bold here. Like, we also need to look better at our spending habits currently. So that's all.
Anybody else? Okay, thank you. Moving on to new business, we have none. So moving on to referrals to the Committee of Ways and Means. Councillor Ringus, please.
Thank you, Madam President. I would move to refer to the Committee on Ways and Means 21057, Mayor Tax Rate Classification, or taking up any action relative thereto. 21058, Mayor CPA Appropriation, Request for Appropriation, Windjammer Cove Affordable Conversion Project, or take up any action relative thereto. 21059, Mayor, request for authorization to spend $1,102,960 from the Turtle Crossing Settlement Fund for Windjammer Cove Affordable Conversion Project, or take up any action relative thereto.
There's been a motion made by Councillor Ringus, seconded by Councillor Ryan. Clerk Semino, roll call vote, please.
Councillor Baraka.
Yes.
Councillor Connors. Aye. Councillor Flaherty.
Yes.
Councillor Hume.
Aye.
Councillor Mackin. Councillor O'Brien.
Aye.
Councillor Ringus.
Aye.
Councillor Ryan.
Aye.
Councillor Sasha. Yes. 9 in favor, 0.
That is unanimous. Thank you. Our next meeting will be Tuesday, December 7th at 7:30 p.m. Thank you, as always, to BCAM for televising this live and on their YouTube channel. Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved, Madam President.
Second.
There's been a motion made by Councillor Ringus, seconded by Councillor Ryan. Clerk Semino, a roll call vote, please.
Councillor Baraka. Councillor Connors. Aye. Councillor Flaherty.
Yes.
Councillor Hume.
Aye.
Councillor Mackin. Councillor O'Brien.
Aye.
Councillor Ringus.
Aye.
Councillor Ryan.
Aye.
Councillor Sasha. Yes. 9 in favor, 0 opposed.
Thank you all. We are adjourned. Good night.